Hello and welcome to One on One on PlusTvAfrica. I am Maureen Menonwezigwe. My guest today is Mazi Iheanyichukwu Ohuabunwa, OFR. He is founder and former CEO Nimet Pharmaceutical, former president of the Pharmaceutical Society of Nigeria, former chairman of the Nigeria Economic Summit, and a former presidential aspirant under the PDP, the People's Democratic Party. Mazi Ohuabunwa, thank you for joining us on One on One.
Thank you, man. It's a pleasure to be here.
Mazi, the crisis rocking your party, the PDP, can best be described as phenomenal at this point. How are you processing it?
To be sincere to you, no well-meaning person, no well-meaning party member will say it's not disturbed. Anybody that says it's not disturbed is playing the ostrich. We are disturbed. I am disturbed. And all I'm doing is pray, add my voice where I can to see that this matter is resolved so that the party can be stable to be able to face the competition that is ahead of it. Yeah.
You, an Igbo man, contested the presidency under your party, but you lost to a northerner. Even though there's said to be an agreement that that office should be shifted to someone from the southeast among your party members. Are you one of those who are aggrieved like Wike and the others, or are you not?
Well, first, let's put the facts correct. Yeah. There was no agreement. There's not like an agreement to zone it to the southeast.
There was a meeting in Asaba.
No, there's no agreement. No, there's no agreement. What is this is that, you see, the party has in its constitution that it will rotate political and party office. It will rotate office. That's what it says. What it says, there will be rotation. So the meaning is that if this position is held by this, between north and south, you know, it's specified north and south in the constitution. So if it's the north this time, the next time it should be in the south. That's the status. So we in the southeast, feeling that the thing should come to the south, began to campaign that it should come to southeast. We, southeasterner, and a few men of conscience and balance who believe that the north has had it. If it's coming to the south, the southwest has had the opportunity to produce president and vice president. So naturally it should go to the southeast. So we began to push that it should come to the southeast. Now the southern governors were the ones who met in Asaba and a few other places, insisting it must come to the south, especially when they began to feel that maybe some northerners are interested, you know, so they began to speak in that language. So that's the way it is. But we were surprised that the party changed its mind and its policy and decided to, rather than zone it to anywhere, throw it open. And they had all kinds of arguments, you know, on all sides. We, the Southerners, feel it should be in the South because we have a Northern president. The Northern people are saying no, that the last PDP president came from the South. So the next PDP president should come from the North. That's their own argument. And we are saying, no, that's not the way the argument should go. The argument should be the Nigerian president. It doesn't matter which party he comes from. So I think those arguments led them to say, okay, let's throw it open. Northeast was arguing that they haven't had a president, just as Southeast was arguing. So in the wisdom of the party, they say, let's throw it open. And they did throw it open. Now, those of us who are party people, who operate by principle, even though we didn't like it, but you cannot run a democratic system by insisting on only what you desire to happen. What should happen is what the group agrees should happen. And that is why we endured it. We tried to empathize that, well, there's a danger in doing this. The party is going to run into some risk if they refuse to zone it to the south. There was going to be some danger. And if the party were ready to live with the consequences, well, that's fine. And the party is now living with the consequences.
During your party primaries, you got just one vote. Why didn't the Igbos in your parties unite and field one strong candidate?
This is part of where the whole thing gets complex. We in PDP were already working in that. Those of us who were especially the four of us who came, I came out first, others came, the four of us were meeting, discussing how we can get this done as we go towards the primaries. Watching also, you know, in this game, when it has become an open game, we're watching what other people were doing. So we're working together till about a week or so to the primaries. One of us jumped ship. Immediately jumped ship, we were destabilized. And so, but we kept saying, okay, when we get to the venue, let's see how things rub off. But you could see there were probably two of us in that group. And the only two of us got something at all. Somebody got 14, I got 1, that's 15. So even if we had said it was one person on, he would have passed, gotten 15. That might only, if you add it to Bayosani, it will be 15. The other people voted for either other southern candidates or northern candidates. And yet they are Igbo, Southeast people, 96 of them.
96 of
yes,
them?
Yes, only 15 voted for a Southeast candidate. So it wasn't a question of if we were 100 or 10 that split our votes, yes. But 2 people, 15 votes. So it didn't require, if they found one person more acceptable, maybe we could have given all the votes. They could have given predominantly the votes to them. So these are the complexities when you hear about it's our turn, it's our own. We want to wonder whether all of us actually buy into that. When it comes to the real delivery, do we all believe that the vote will be according to ethnic bias or religious bias or whatever? You can never say until you know what motivates people to vote.
The PDP primaries, which is now called the Dollargate scandal, saw Igbos sell themselves cheap for a pot of porridge, making one wonder if it's inherent in the Igbos to betray themselves for money and for opportunities.
Well, I have come to a conclusion. When I was going into that battle, I knew there were certain things that affect voter response, especially in the political scene. I knew ethnicity was one. I knew that religion was another. I knew that money was a third. But what we thought we were bringing was ideology, a change to show that things can be done differently, a vision for a new Nigeria with capacity, with competence, with where we have come from and what we stand for. We thought those would count. But when I finished that, I came to one conclusion, that yes, there can be, ethnicity may count, religion may count, but where is enough money, it overrides everything else. So the most distinguishing influencer, let me even speak about primaries, let me not go beyond primaries for now, is money. So because there were people who were northerners who voted for southerners, there are people who voted for so, and what was the influences? Who? Money. Nobody worried about ethnicity much in that primary. Nobody worried about religion. It was more about money. As for ideology and competence, that was completely of no so this issue is not, to be sincere to you, it's not just the Igbo. It is the political culture. Nigeria political culture is that they're influenced by money.
INEC just revealed the statistics of those who registered for the forthcoming elections, and that statistics shows that the youth placed highest among those who registered to vote for 2023. What is your view of the political climate as we move towards the 2023 general elections?
I am excited because it's looking to me that for once, Nigerians may have to choose their leaders themselves. We have been choosing leaders for Nigerians. I'm talking about the political class. They've been choosing leaders for Nigerians. And the class represents an infinitesimal proportion of citizens. So it looks to me like the citizens of Nigeria are going to choose their leaders, and that excites me. And that's why I am glad to see the number of young people who are registering, the growth in the voter population. It makes me feel good. Because, as I've always said, the more choices you can make, the better your ability to make a good choice.
Yes.
Because if you are limited to one or two choices, it's either the deep blue sea or the devil. But if you have more than that, you can make a better choice. So I have a feeling that Nigeria will come out in 2023, feeling that they have made their own choice, not that it's imposed. Because that's the why the country is terrible. Somebody, say a good person, may merge previously, but because elections are not as transparent as they ought to be, you have in your mind maybe this guy wouldn't have emerged if the election was transparent. But we believe that this election, by law, the new law that is being made, the young people's activism, the general interest in the population, Nigerians, not sad, because I went around this country, everyone wants something better, much, much better than they are getting. Many say this is not what we bargain. What we're getting is not what we bargain. It's not what we are promised. So the only problem is they have is who will do what he said he will do? That is the question they ask.
Mazi, oil everywhere, yet no oil, and the country is broke, when Nigeria should be experiencing a boom because of the Ukraine-Russian war. What is your analysis of Nigeria's oil theft saga?
First, it's a shame. It's distressing. It makes me feel like, I'm not a woman, but I can imagine a woman who is raped. I can imagine the torture. That's the way I feel to hear that we run a country where we have government that has power, that has the power of coercion, that is supposed to maintain rule and order, tells me that they are sitting down and people are taking the most important, in fact, the only resource we have that generates foreign exchange for us, up to the point that some people are saying 1995, all kinds of figures were being stolen. And everybody was going around normally, as if nothing has gone wrong. It's so painful. This country, I don't know what will happen to us before we feel really, really insulted. They went and broke, there was a jailbreak in Kuje. Yes. As I speak to you, maybe you're a journalist. Who has been punished? Did the minister resign? Did the head of prisons resign? Who resigned? Who was punished? Such a calamity. So now somebody is giving us announcement that an alarm that there is security alert, and people are questioning it. It's America, it's Britain. The Nigerian people, including the minister himself, say there were, 17 or 22 security intelligence reports on that Kuje. I don't know where you heard about it. And they were ignored. So you see Americans are telling Nigerians, now you are angry with them. You are angry because they want us, you don't want us to be alive. You want us to be killed. And then you start saying you're sorry. Or you assure us that there will not be I don't understand how people reason. The country has failed its citizens, and it is wise for other people to help us. And that's the reason why I've always said that Nigeria is being, when you have a problem, you have to be humble and ask for help. If Nigeria had been humble to ask for help, part of our security issues, because most of it is intelligence. We don't have the right intelligence. It's not just equipment. So my point is that the oil that is being stolen is a clear manifestation of the poor governance of our country, of the malfeasance that pervades our country, of the corruption that has eaten this nation, its fabric, endemic from beginning to the end. And that's why we can get away with it. If some people were not part of it, they would have revealed it, just as they have done now. Yes. Some people were given a responsibility, and so they are no longer part of it, so they revealed it. But when it was bazaar, nobody reports his friend. It's been a bazaar for many years. The security forces, the local people, the regulatory people, the security, everybody was in that bazaar. And truth, it didn't start today. It's been a long bazaar, but it got increasingly worse because when you do not punish crime. When you don't punish crime, the crime will grow. It will multiply. It will just show that you are rewarding it. And that's what we do. We start small radicals or bandits. We let them proliferate. We start with little things. Everything gets out of hand because of poor enforcement of the rule of law.
Mazi, you were one time the chairman of the Nigeria Economic Summit. Nigeria is experiencing capital flight like never seen before. How do you analyze this?
You've touched a very sore point for me, because my vision, which is why I got into politics, is to turn Nigeria into a globally competitive nation that could become a first world nation and that will work for every Nigerian. That's our vision in New Nigeria Group. A country that is globally competitive and that will become a first world nation. And to become globally competitive and a first world nation, where you're going to work on is in productivity. How do you improve your productivity? And productivity depends on investment. It's investments that create businesses, programs, and projects. Businesses, programs, and projects create jobs. Jobs create wealth. Wealth eliminates poverty and ensures prosperity. There's a straight line relationship between investment. Check it out. For me, it's the most basic thing. Any country, any climate that wants to grow its economy and change its economic and social status is to focus on investment, be they foreign, be they domestic. And to be able to do that, you need to create an enabling environment that promotes, invites, and rewards investment and investors. Nigeria has turned full circle as an investment-driving country. First, there is no security, and that's the first law. You can't invest if you cannot be secure. Two, there is no macroeconomic stability. And if there's no macroeconomic stability, how can people invest and project when they're going to get return? Three, policy somersaults. And lastly, complete disregard for international laws. Because every time Nigeria disobeys a court ruling, every time you go to court, it takes you forever to get a judgment. Every time you find Nigeria reverse, Seplat was to buy some assets from, was it Shell or Mobil? It was government will agree, government will disagree, government will cancel. Government intervenes a lot. Our central bank is not independent. It is run like any other department of government. So it doesn't portend an attractive investment climate. What's the result? Decline, both in FDI, even remittances are going down. So it is painful, because take, for example, when government started this CBN, that they were stopping domiciliary accounts. A country is short of dollars and is stopping domiciliary accounts. Today it will recognize Bureau de Change, the next day it will cancel Bureau de Change, it will give money to Bureau de Change. Policy somersault, inconsistency, trial by error. You don't run an economy.
What's your view about the rebranding of the currency, the Nigerian currency?
The right thing in the wrong time. Absolutely, this is the most inauspicious time. You see, a country is in deficit. A country can, even its revenue is not able to match debt repayments. Wouldn't that country be wary of spending money on what does not create value? But our country thinks the best thing is print money or borrow money. So this is not time for this kind of thing, because the disruption to the economy will more than outweigh any benefit. The only benefit I see is that I'll stop using dirty notes. That's for me, that's all. Every other thing, I mean, at least for a while, because soon they will become dirty and they will hoard the others and be selling them giving them to women who hawk. CBN have been watching it. You don't go to the bank and get fresh money. But you get, if you go to party, and everybody's watching, Nigeria is watching, regulatory agencies are watching, CBN. Which kind of country is this? This is waste of money. If they tell you how much it will take to print this money and freight it, it will complete one new bridge. It will build one dam that will help.
Making one wonder why Nigeria does not print her money.
Even if Nigeria prints her money, it costs money to print money. Because it's a security thing. It costs money. They used to have a national something printing, security printing. I don't know whether that one is dead, but you should print some money and also print checks, books, and all that. But Nigeria does not look for cost-saving measures. Money is spent recklessly because nobody's accountable. Otherwise, this is not the time to, because I don't see any benefit. You change the money, you say money is outside, you bring the money. People will still take it out. If I come to take my money, say I shouldn't take it. If I don't take it by cash directly, I can transfer money to 100 people and they bring cash for me. What are they talking about? Is it to stop politicians from doing? It's a joke. There's no way, unless you say people cannot have access to their money, then you are running a different issue. And of course, they will run away with their money, both foreign and local. So it's good for me to have fresh notes to use, but for that, they shouldn't disrupt. 30 days, we are doing election, we are doing campaigns. People are looking for how to exist. You go to the market now, there will be two economies. You bring the old money, some people say they will not take, or you pay more for you devalue the naira. You pay more for the same because you're using an older note.
Already devalued naira.
Yeah, you devalue it more. So I don't think it is, of all the issues Nigeria should be facing now, it is not changing. And the time they did it in 1983, this same way, what did it solve? We still had suitcases that arrived. We don't know who owned those suitcases.
Insecurity in Nigeria has become so alarming. Many are clamoring for state police. What's your take on that?
I don't understand why there should be clamor. Meno, if you are solving a problem and the problem is not being solved, won't you look for other ways to solve your problem? Nigeria is a federation, but a federation in name. Everything else, I keep saying Nigeria is like an inverted federation with the peak up and the trough. I mean, it's standing on its peak. A normal triangle will stand on its base, but Nigeria stands on its base, it's wobbling. So if it's not wobbling, there's no reason why, if you go to federations, like the United States of America, you have federal police, you have state police, you have county police, you have city police, you have college police, university police, hospital police. All of them are linked. When you see, sometimes you may not know the difference because they dress sometimes similarly, but they are different police, but they are linked because each one creates support to the other. They are linked together in one data. Sometimes the badge they wear that will show you, or the arms they carry. So you have police all over the place in the community, in the school, in the universities, in the hospitals, so that crime can be prevented, easily detected. But you have how many number of policemen to police this road, and 3/4 of them are not working. They are either in the office or they are just serving as VIP support, you know, or they are following money in the banks. So in London, you see police walking around the streets with their baton. Before you look, you've seen a policeman. If a criminal was planning something, he'll cool down. If he commits the crime, they will be arrested and then prosecuted. But we have not started policing here. We're not. Every Nigerian knows his own. If Danjuma, governor of Matawale or whatever, governor of Zamfara, governor of Benue, are all saying Nigerians arm yourself. It is the highest level of desperation for such people to say it. It's just, what is the alternative?
Nigeria is at a point where many Nigerians have become so desperate. As a politician, as a businessman, as an elder statesman, what would you say to a Nigerian watching you at this point in time?
What I'll say to any Nigerian is that they should have hope, because God has decided to intervene in the Nigerian situation. I believe so, that it will happen. 2023 will be the beginning of the enthronement of a new Nigeria. The new Nigeria we've dreamt about, that is the nation that will begin to evolve in 2023. And it will happen. It doesn't matter what we think as politicians or what anybody thinks, it will happen. Because I know that the prayers of innocent Nigerians, the prayers of the youth, those who are killed at Lekki Toll Gate, those who have been thrown into the rivers in some places, the orphans, the widows, people who have been orphaned because of banditry and terrorism, women who have become widows because their husbands were unjustly killed in a war they don't know anything about. They've been crying for justice. God has decided to arise for Nigeria, so have hope that we're getting solution to our problems pretty soon.
And with that, we've come to the end of One-on-One today, and our guest has been Mazi Sam Iheanyichukwu Ohuabunwa, OFR. Mazi, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Meno. It's a pleasure being with you again.
Thank you.
Thank you.